Well, g'day, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And it's been a while since I've seen yous. I've had this awful COVID thing, so it's laid me up for a few weeks. Slowed me up good and proper, actually. So still got lots of coughing and so forth, but we're getting better. The voice will probably sound a little bit different to what it normally is. But anyway, on with the show. So I thought I'd better start or make a start on our Breville, the Breville Radio. This is going to be a very long restoration, so we'll be doing it bit by bit. We'll make short videos of the progress as I go along, and to get it in, well, hopefully working order. I have no idea whether this goes, what the go is with it. So first of all, we'll check things like the speaker tranny, the field coil on the speaker to see if it's okay, our power transformer on the radio itself, and just an overall look over, certainly before we plug anything in. We're not going to plug anything in like that. It's one of those restoration jobs that's going to take quite a while. I want to strip it down. It'll be repainted, and we'll go a little bit more into the technical detail of it now, as far as what it is, where it, obviously it's an Australian radio with an Australian dial, but it's a little bit of its history. So, yeah. So we'll take a look at that now. Before we go delving into it, the first thing I want to do with this, after we do the intro, is remove this dial glass. It worries me here in the workshop, and if anything was to happen to this, I mean, that's the hero of the radio. That is beautiful. And yeah, we've got to be very gentle when we remove it, because there are some of the numbers that are lifting. Not real sure what to do with all that yet. We'll have a look at how bad it is once we get it off, but you guys might have an idea. I don't want to spray it with anything on the back to preserve it. Like some people have suggested in the past, some hairspray or something like that, clear lacquer. I don't want to put anything on this, because if it goes on, that's it. If it ruins our dial, there is no replacements for this fella. So anyway, let's have a closer look. And if you want to follow this, please remember, subscribe and click the bell so you can follow every video on this little fella as we go along the track. I'd also like to welcome my thumbs down person. Now that we know who it is, quite a, probably easier said that, you can't pick your allies. But anyway, on with the show, and we'll have a look at him. Now, as far as we've been able to work out with this radio, it's an M97. There's an M92, which appears to be the console. This is the console one, the M97, we think. The M92, I think, is the mantle one. But there is so many different types of Breville from the factory. It's incredible. Radio Museum have got lots and lots and lots of different models of these. This one, it is stamped on the back, and what is stamped on the back looks like model 86. 86 circuit doesn't match this one, being the difference being in the front end, which is our AK2 valve. The earlier versions of this use an AK1 and all sorts of other ones. They use ECH33s, some of them. So this socket on this, which we'll go into as we go along, has to be replaced. It's mangled. So this radio, between 1936 and 1938, was made by Breville in Sydney, Australia. And I will just put a couple of snippets up. It was sold, this one sold in regional for the long distance reception. This model also was available in a battery 6-volt vibrator setup. This one is not. It's always been a 240 volt unit. But a lot of these were produced like that. Now, the circuit that matches this directly is nothing else other than an M97. So that's the circuit I'm going to go by. Now, as far as valve lineup, we've got an AK2, we've got a 6D6, a 6B7, a 42 as the audio out, and an 80 as our rectifier. So that's what's in this at the moment. This is the only circuit that I can find that matches this radio, but this chassis doesn't match any of the, it doesn't match anything that's on the internet exactly. The cabinet is different, the layout is different, everything is different. So anyway, we can get by all that, and we'll go by that circuit. And now I think we'll take a closer look and do a couple of checks, and then we'll remove the dial glass, and that'll do us for this introduction video, because I've got a very interesting restoration coming up next that's going to take a lot less time than this, but a very oldie. Okay, let's delve deeper into this one. Right, guys, now a couple of you guys have made comments on the last video regarding the valve base on this fellow, which is an AK2. It is the first RF and mixer valve. This uses a P8A socket. Now, I think someone said that the valve's got no pins on it. Yeah, they're not from the bottom. But I'll give us a close-up. I'll bring the camera in and give us a close-up of these type of valves, this type of socket. Obviously, a few of you guys haven't seen one of these, so we'll have a look at him in a little bit closer. This thing, we'll turn it around, and let's have a little bit closer to the socket that this fella goes into, and a little bit of an overall inspection of the whole thing. So let's get started on that. So this is our valve in question. Here's a Phillips AK2. A little bit grotty at the moment. I haven't cleaned anything up yet. And as you'll see, there's his contacts on the back. So just to give you an idea of what sort of contacts are on these valves. So these go in, you'll see the socket in a moment. They just push in and the contacts rub up the side of these small pins as such. So there we go. He does have pins, and hopefully this works, because these are not a real cheap valve online. He's got a coating on him to shield the valve itself. It's also got some wire around there, and obviously that wire would go in, it wraps around your conductive coating, probably a silver conductive coating on the valve itself, and probably goes in and connects to ground on one of these pins. I would say, I'm not certain of how these are made. These are long time ago. So, but yeah, there's his and there's actually a little join there that you can see in the wire. So I don't know whether that's just been wrapped around. It looks as though there's been something around the bottom of the valve base on there. I don't know whether there's been more wire or whether there's been a shield or what over this. You wouldn't think it'd need a shield with this. This fella is made in Great Britain. So let's have a closer look at the socket where he goes into. Okay, here's the socket, and full of rubbish. As I said, haven't cleaned any of this up. You guys are seeing this as it all happens. There's your little contacts around the outside. Now this one is in looks fairly bad shape, but it may clean up okay. I do have a new one of these P8 sockets if we need to. He's held by the two screws there. So we'll see how he cleans up. We don't need that in him anymore. So let's have a look at the rest of the radio. Okay, looking at the radio at the back, here's the power cord, and you probably saw this in the previous video. Not real keen on that fella, but obviously it may have been joined at some stage and some old cloth tape put around it. Of course, we'll be getting rid of that very shortly. Now we seem to have a pickup here. I haven't got the circuit with me at the moment, so I'm assuming that's a pickup, and we've probably got an aerial and earth, or whatever way they are around. The rest of it, I'll just throw him down there. The valve lineup. Now, people would say, yeah, 5Y3 or something along those lines, but in actual fact, our rectifier valve is an 80. Now, this is a low profile 80. It's been a long time since I've seen one of these. Normally they're the bigger bulb type, but that's our rectifier. Our audio output, we'll just check a couple here, is a 42. So very straightforward type valve. Quite old. This will be a bit of a trick to work on. Now, in actual fact, I'll take the valves out as I'm doing them because this has got to be cleaned up. I'll take the 80 out. Now, this fella would be the detector, second IF, so forth. And our grid cap is actually loose on the valve. I don't really want to pull that too much. I'll try and poke something into the top while I try and lift him out. Bear with me for a moment. If I hold the center down and then lift the cap, we seem to having movement. Boy, that cap's fairly tight. Okay, got him off, and we will unsolder this and probably super glue the cap back on there. Okay. Right. That's what we've got here. Our shield. Take this valve out. And you can see it's a 6B7. In fairly dirty condition. We've got to test these to see if they're okay, but I don't have many bad valves actually. So valves don't seem to give that much trouble. Capacitors, on the other hand, well, we all know about them. This fellow, yes, he's coming off. 'Tis good. Now, this is interesting. Piece of wire. What's under here? Okay. No spiders. And I would say this grid probably has come out of here. No, that one would be, oh gee. I thought this one might be for this valve. That one would possibly be for our AK2 over here. Not real sure about this yet, but anyway, there's a grid cap. We'll work all this out together. As I said, this will be a multi-part series, lots and lots of videos, I think, just stage by stage, nothing extremely in-depth or long-winded. Okay, 6D6. No, he's not. Yes, he is. He's a 6D6, and that's your first IF. Okay, a little bit of cleaning up there. A few spiders been in there. Right, so that's got the valves out. Fairly happy with that. Overall, yeah, a bit of work to do on this fella. I think we'll probably all enjoy this restoration. I think it should be pretty good, actually. I hope you guys enjoy it as we go along. Now, up here, we've got a wire round resistor that's got a piece of wire on it. Why you would need a wire wound resistor, possibly for inductance or something like this on the tuning gang. But anyway, there's our cap. Well, this is very strange because we've got a grid cap here for our first valve. We've got a fella here for the second. We've got the third. So, brings me to the point, where did this one go? We've only got 3 valves, and we've got 3 grid connects. Interesting. Okay, the lamp wiring, fairly hard rubber there. I think we'll replace that. What do you reckon? Especially ones like that. For our transformer, wouldn't like that too much, I wouldn't think. So we'll take the lamps out. Obviously, a standard pilot 6.3 volt. And on this side, same thing, red wiring. Yeah, we'll definitely replace it. Okay, while I get those out, we'll turn the unit around, and then I really want to get this dial off. Okay, so let's get a bit of camera angle. Oh, before we do, here we go. Now, this has got something written there, and it looks like 96, model 96, serial number 108. So, there's our valve lineup, by the way. So, I don't know whether that's an 8 or a 9. We might put a little bit of cleaner on this and just see, can we get a definite model of this. Just bear with me for a sec. Righto, guys, we'll clean him up a bit. Is it 96 or is it an 86? Let's try and get a better picture of that. I think it's a 96 myself, model 96. It could be an 86, very difficult. It sort of has missed the stamp at the bottom a little bit. But anyway, there he is. It's an 86 or a 96. There we go. So we're going to call it 96. But in actual fact, the circuit we're using is a 97. And there's our date, 1937. So it's a 96, a 98, or a 97. We're not certain, but that's our schematic. There's our AK2, the first valve, with that odd socket. And yeah, we'll have a look at this, and now we will take the famous dial glass off this thing. Okay, let's do that. Right, well, it must be time now to attack the dial glass. Now it appears as though I've got screws here, 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 and here, holding this fella on. So I'm starting with the top ones. They're a little bit rusty, so all these will have to be cleaned up before she goes back together. And that doesn't want to lift. Yes, does. Yeah. There you go. There's evidence of a spider being in there, but he's not in there anymore. This thing appears to be a double glass on this. There's 2 layers of glass here. Now, I'm not going to cut this video at the moment while we're pulling this apart. I'd like you guys to tag along in case you get one of these, or in case you're interested in what the go is with this thing. Okay. And we'll have to ease him up as well. And yeah, there's been spiders in there. Okay. Now, the top one, there's obviously been dial lights in either side of this, which is the side, and the top ones. But there's none for this side. Anyway, we can soon fix that up when we're putting him together. Oh, he's tight. Now, loosen him off because this looks to be slotted. Oh, gee, that's tight. You certainly don't want to burr the screws either. Okay. Doesn't look like it's ever been painted, but oh yes, it has. I'd say it's been black at some stage. So that's probably how we'll redo it. Now, I will take those screws out. They'll have to be cleaned up. We've got, this is very odd. I'll give you guys a closer look at the top of the glass here before we go any further. Right, if I can hold the camera still. Here we go. That's what we've got. And it seems to be 2 layers of glass and a gasket behind there. But what's this fellow? Black, I would say, some black cardboard that sits behind the glass, maybe. But yeah, that's what we're up against. Right. I just paused while you guys saw that, so you haven't missed out on anything here. I am going to take the side dial lamp covers holders off. Oh, gee, very tight. Okay. I don't know whether we'll get this fella. I'll show you what I'm doing here. On this fella here. You still can't see. Anyway, there's a screw there, and oh, there he goes. That side off, and bean spiders in there as well. I may need this video when I'm putting this thing back together. Right. Why haven't I got my turntable sitting here? Okay. Once again, 2 screws, and excuse my arm in the camera. And ooh, he's off. Excuse my fingers in the camera. Right. Okay. Now, all this is a little bit loose. Let's see what we can do here. Now, I've taken one out there. I've just loosened that fellow off just for the moment. Take this one out. Loosen this fella. And ooh, lots of numbers. falling down there. Can't do much about this. It is what it is here. Loosen him off. Take this fellow out. There we go. Yeah. This glass. Oh dear, he doesn't want to let go down here. Okay, we'll just, because we've got another piece of glass behind this, and it's actually riding on the centre spindle. Okay. Gently, gently, gently. Now he comes off. Gee, I've only got to touch this. We may be able to do some very fine work with a brush, a little bit of paint, and get in here and touch a few of these up. I think we might be able to, but that will be a bit of a trick in itself. Turn him around, and as you can see where they come from. We might be able to do that. Certainly not going to touch too much of this just at the moment. I'm laying flat that way. And I'll pause the video and we'll find a safe place to put this. Okay, I've certainly found somewhere safe to put him. We don't need anything happening. Now, the second glass has our overseas stations on it. Yeah, that's interesting. Now, next one off is this fellow, and the remains of what was on the other dial. This one seems to be okay in the centre. He's in quite good order, actually. Right, we'll pause the video, find a safe place for him. Now, back in the day, like we're looking at 1937, this dial was absolutely state of the art. Wow, what an incredible turnout this is. Black paper as the backing. And of course, we'll be replacing that. That's fairly easy done, that one. This one, cardboard. It's a type of cardboard fiberboard in very good order, actually. There's no problems with that one. So that will be fine. And now we're left with this, the actual mechanism. Some cork for the cardboard. Some cork strips there for the board to rest on. Now, what I want to do is take this off the front so forth. And yeah, do this. Now, this is the tuning. It really doesn't really want to work. Yeah, so we'll just tidy up here a little bit and come back and work out how we're going to do this. Right, now what I can see is this plate. Now, yeah, this plate, our spindle is actually connected to it, which drives a disc behind here. To get this off, two screws, two little nuts down there, and of course we'll have to remove the extension of I'm guessing that is band switch or tone. No, I'd say that's band switch. So just going to put a little bit of lube on these fellas to see what we can do with them. A little bit of lube in there as well. Okay. Yeah, there's something horribly wrong with the setup there. Now, these fellas are on a standoff. There's a screw on either side with a little standoff on either side. Let's see if they come undone. Yes, they do. One does. Yes, he does. He's going okay there. They're very tight. So when we're undoing these, seeing they're so tight, if you're doing these, make sure you put some pressure on the screwdriver to push it in, hold it at the back, because if you strip these things, the head, like I haven't so far, very hard to get the screws out then. So, yeah, just a word there. Now, all that's loose. That will come off. All we got is this fella down here. Let's get a socket onto him. I think he's that size, maybe a little bit bigger. That will be him. Now, there's two nuts on this one, so obviously a lock nut. And he doesn't want to come out of my socket. And he still doesn't want to come out of my socket. Come on. Get him out later. This fella's coming off. Right. There's only this fella to go. This one is also on a standoff. And also a slot. The screw is on a slot, which is must be something to do with our setting up. So we've got a little spacer and a washer that goes on that fella there. Okay, this fella, just give myself a piece of rag here. Okay. Right. Now, this extension. Oh, gee, I hope he comes out. Yes. Nice and easy. And as I said, this appears to be the band switch. There's a lot we've got to learn about this fella yet. There you go. That'd come off very easily. Brass, so it's not actually rusted on. That looks like an afterthought, actually. That's doesn't look like it's a factory job, but yeah, it must be. Just doesn't look like that. Okay, let's get this off. Okay, that's coming off there. And it doesn't want to. Okay. I actually think we've got these two that have got to come out. Which is, of course, your dial pointer. Right. We're getting there, guys. I didn't think it'd take this long. Right. Now, that doesn't want to come off there. Okay, certainly doesn't want to come off there. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe we do one side at a time. It's off now. Here we go. And that's off. Here we go. There's our little wheel that turns our tuning condenser, which is not turning it anyway. It's probably seized. And this fella works on this gear system here with this little gear in here. Got a spring here. Maybe I didn't have to take this little mechanism out, but can I get this out? Still doesn't want to come out. There we go. Okay, now we're getting things out. So there we go. A little gear, and our actual dial pointer, that's threaded in there, goes in here. Now, I haven't got the pointer for this. We're going to have to manufacture something. So this is also spring-loaded, which would stop the dial pointer from moving around when you're tuning. That doesn't come off, or doesn't want to come off there. That is actually splayed out a little bit on the sides. So don't know whether that's been damaged. or it is supposed to be like that, but we'll look at all that later. Right, now, this fella, our tuning wheel, very basic type of thing, two metal washers there together, actually soldered on the end. Pretty basic stuff, this. Okay, we'll put this aside, come back and attack the next bit. Righto, the disc, the big disc itself. Now, that is spinning on the shaft. It looks like it's just loose. Loosen that one off. Go around here and loosen this one off a little bit more. Just a couple of grub screws. And now, pull him off. There we go. That's it. There's our tuning disc. As I said, this is going to be a multi-part series. There'll be 10 parts to putting this dial back together. Right. Now, the actual tuning condenser is loose and it attaches to this plate. So, yeah, we'll be taking it out anyway and cleaning and taking all this off. So, those two screws there, actually take him out and he does, he moves, but yeah, not very much. Right. Let's move this around so you guys can see what's behind here. So I'll get you a better picture. Okay, so of course nothing's ever easy, is it? We've got two screws here that hold our tuning gang, which is actually loose, and of course the second screw is behind this can. It's always the way, isn't it? But for this whole piece, we have a screw here, we have another screw just up the back there, and I think that is all that's holding the front on. Let's see. I'm amazed that these screws actually are coming out. It's probably got a nut on him. I wonder, can I get him out? Okay, well, loosen this fella off. Same deal. Now, I might be able to get at this bottom screw before I take this plate off. Yes, I can. Okay. I'll try and get out of the road there so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, that's the hard one. That's out. Now, this fellow is the only one that's holding the tuning gangy. course, we'll unsolder him and get him out and get him off here. Righto. Now, here we go. Now we have some wires underneath here. We have a couple of earth points and your aerial and oscillator connections, which are down in here, that one, and this one over here. And right at the bottom there is two ground connections, which go to the grounding plates in the centre of the tuning gang. Okay, so let's get these off, depending on what sort of solder this is too, as to how hard it is to melt. No, it's coming quite easily. Well, I shouldn't have said that, should I? Here we go. Righto. Now our two plates. Try and get him out there. There he goes. Actually, the solder's melting quite easily for old solder like this. Well, it was. Come on. There we go. Right. And that's our two ground tabs that go up and ride on the centre of our tuning gang. So, here we go with him. He's looking a bit worse for wear. He does move, but boy, he's tight. So, probably a little bit of cleaning is necessary with this fella. All right. Anyway, this is starting to look a little bit better. All we've got to do is get this off, and then we can start checking a few things, like that thing there, this thing over here, the things that always give us trouble. I'll relocate the camera and get this front off. Right, so in the bottom here, we do have a nut on that screw, which is coming off easily. Yeah, it's got him out, and a star washer and a flat washer on him. Do the same. Let's fill it down here. It's incredible that these are not rusted. And you guys are probably having a look around underneath the chassis there as well. There's, yeah, a little bit of work to do here. Right. So that's our front plate off. Now to find our washers, which I don't want floating around in here. All seems to be out. think. Now, what we're going to do, first off, we're getting there. And I know you guys would want me to do this. Get rid of this. Power cord is gone. And that will certainly be going in the bin. Our lamps, well, for the moment, I'm leaving the wiring as it is. Just take our lamps out. Get rid of this fella. And, well, it's starting to look like something that we can work on now. Okay, so that's where we're up to. This is the initial look over it. Yes, original caps, everything's original. We've got a big wire wound resistor in here that looks like it's been totally, as Shango's language, baked. That looks terribly baked. A lot of black around it. I don't know whether this is any good. I think it's a 15K tapped resistor. I think the resistor is only 20 watts or something. So we might have to do something with that. Not sure. But lots of little caps, big waxy in there. And yeah, there's a fair bit to do in here. So volume control, volume pot. Just get you guys up there a bit. Volume pot looks okay, but we'll be taking him out. Switch assembly. Yeah, hopefully a cleanup will do that. Now, tone control. It's got a bent shaft. So you can see the lean down on that one. So that's going to have to come out and be pulled apart, straightened. Other than that, we might get our compressed air, blow him off a bit, clean him up a little bit initially. Then we'll test out transformer. Now, we also have an extension on the volume control, on our volume pot, if you want to call them a pot, or, yeah. I don't know how experienced you guys are watching, so, yeah, we'll take this extension off the volume control. There you go. Volume pot. There you go. And, yeah, it's strange how there's been extensions put on it, and that doesn't look original. It looks like it's been cut, but then an extension put on it. Same with this one. Yeah. A little screw here that's got to come out. He held the bottom of the dialer. All right, we'll leave this for a moment, and we'll go to the next part of testing the transformers and the valves. So that'll be fairly straightforward. This was a longer video of doing what we've got to do with this. Okay. Well, guys, there it is. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this little adventure of rebuilding this Breville M97, 86, 87, 97, whatever this is, 1937, 1938 console radio. I'm looking forward to the bit of a challenge with this fella. It's going to be a challenge, but this video was the lengthy one, just the intro. The next one, we'll test the transformers. I'll clean this up a bit, and we'll split this video now. My next video will be starting shortly with a restore of something quite interesting. Okay, so it'll be up very shortly. And meanwhile, we do bits and pieces on this fellow. I don't know how long this is going to be, but it's going to take a little while from start to finish of this one. So, as I said earlier, subscribe, hit the bell so that you'll be notified each of these videos and other videos when they come out. Okay, so until the very next time, or until the next video on a unique restore, it's bye for now.